instrumentalist first takes an interest in early music. More often than not, the historical instrument that will serve as the musical vehicle for discovery is the historical ancestor of the modern band or orchestral instrument that they've spent many years learning. If you're a tubist or a euphonium player, you must instead learn the serpent and the ophicleide, two instruments that are vastly different from the modern chromatic brass instruments of today. In this video, I will touch upon the more important aspects of this instrument's history.
The story of the serpent begins in the 16th century when the bass cornetto, an unwieldy instrument that had an impossible finger reach, began to have its shape improved upon. At the turn of the 16th to the 17th century, the serpent appears in its most recognizable form in Marin Mersenn's Harmonie Universelle. It is here that he writes the following. But the true bass of the cornet is performed with the serpent, so that one can say that one without the other is a body without a soul. And later, that this instrument is capable of supporting 20 of the strongest voices, and it is so easy to play that a 15-year-old child can produce a sound as loud as that of a 30-year-old man. Furthermore, the sound of this instrument can be softened to the extent that it is suitable for blending with the gentle voices of chamber music, imitating their delicacies and diminutions, and capable of producing 32 notes per measure. The serpent, if you can believe it, was an instrument that was entirely associated with the performance of Gregorian chant. At the turn of the 18th to the 19th century, the currents of the Napoleonic Wars swept this instrument into the world of harmonie music, foreshadowing the use of its successor, the ophicleide, in the great orchestras of the first promenade concerts, which were grand affairs and the birthplace of what today is called light orchestral music. The historical predicament of the serpentist is one that resonates with all of us in the arts facing the brave new world that is our general future. Serpentists, who before the French Revolution had stable careers performing Gregorian chant and in playing with the basso continuo section in the performances of sacred music, suddenly had to reinvent themselves by joining orchestras and wind ensembles. Although the serpent returned to the church around 1801, it was changed permanently after this ordeal. The gap in the oral pedagogical tradition of serpent playing resulted in a new age of serpentists that was very eager to play this sometimes unwieldy instrument. As such, the reputation of the serpent went down throughout the decades of the 19th century, until it was thought of as little more than the ubiquitous instrument for an aging generation of musicians. The serpent was heard in England in many parish churches beginning in the 1750s as the favorite bass instrument in West Gallery music, which is also known as Georgian psalmody. The serpent's first new iteration, the military serpent, begins to appear in the 1780s in England as a member of the Coldstream Guards at the behest of the king, who, as the story goes, suggested to hold the serpent sideways to better perform on horseback. The following duet for two serpents was written by the serpentist and Paris Conservatoire professor Alexandre Hardy. Hardy is one of several individuals that went through this period of reinvention. conclusion, the serpent and ophicleide were instruments whose decline was caused by singular events, echoing the demise of the cornetto after the plagues of the early 17th century wiped out a critical amount of the Italian and southern French population. Nevertheless, it is our duty as members of the early music community to explore the music that was heard in all walks of life, even if it slithers.